Hey, this is Eli Johnson with POCculture.com. Thank you guys so much for having me.
Thank you. Thank you, Eli. Nice to meet you.
So, Larnell, you've been the action director for many great projects over the years. When you were asked
Mhm.
to join the Continental, what attracted you to the project?
All right. Well, it's interesting because I'm a part of the 87 action design team who were responsible for the John Wicks. But believe it or not, I didn't work on any of the John Wicks. I was always doing other projects or out the country or doing something different. So I observed their efficiency, the creativity, the execution from afar, looking at the final results. So when I was asked by Chad Stahelski to be a part of the Continental. Timing worked out. I was available, and I was very excited because it was my chance to say, "Hey, look, I haven't put my touch on this world, so let's see what I could do." And I feel like I had a better open format for it, being in the '70s. So it allowed a chance to do something unique, be really creative, and it took off the pressure of trying to compete with the modern day stuff that they've done so well. So yeah, it was a great avenue and outlet.
Absolutely. And you guys did a great job in establishing the familiar tone of the franchise during the
Mhm.
stairwell fight scene in
Okay.
episode one. And we see Frankie
Yeah.
do so many of the movements and poses that remind us of the John Wick and the
Mhm.
famous choreography of the films. What do you think makes the action of the Continental and the John Wick series so unique from other action films?
Oof. Well, it's hard to compare, but obviously comparisons will happen. That's just what we do when we're fans of action. We look for style, we look for tone, we look for camera work, we look for execution, we look for believability, we look for quality, tension, drama. We look for all those things within fight scenes. So our job is to keep all of that in mind. So when the audience sees it, it has replay value. And if something has replay value, then it's special. And when something's special, you tell your friends about it. You tell other people about it. People want to see more of it. But we just learn our balance to not overstay our welcome. In Continental, we wanted to make sure some scenes weren't too long. That way, we left you wanting more. So that stairwell scene was very important. It was our introduction or our wick card, so to speak, to say, "Hey, we got you. We know what you want. Here's a taste. Now sit back and enjoy what else we have to offer."
Absolutely. And you've talked about the limitations of the time constraints of filming for TV
Mhm.
versus filming for movies. But
Yeah.
were there any advantages or pleasant surprises that you experienced while doing the choreography for the show?
Well, I'm gonna say one of the advantages was having great leadership. When you don't have a lot of time and people can't just throw money at a situation to say, "Oh, well, I need 2 weeks. You got 4 days. Here's more money." We didn't have that, but what we had was great leadership with Albert Hughes, his vision, the tone, how he wanted the story told. Kirk Ward, our showrunner slash writer, he was very supportive with the action, just constantly making sure we had what we needed, from other producers, other departments. So that was intricate when we could focus on the actors' training, making sure our stunt viz was amazing, making sure our training went well. So having somebody have your back on the logistical side really helps when you have to get in front of that camera. When you really want it 4 days, but you only have two. But now those two become a very efficient 2 days. And in the audience, they can't tell. They look at the final product and then someone say, "Oh, that was cool." They'll never know, the stress, strain, or the time limits you had. And at the end of the day, that makes it worth it. When someone says, "I really enjoyed that sequence," and the details don't really matter after that, but the lessons you do remember of how to get that done again.
Absolutely. And a lot of the actors for the Continental have their first big action sequences in this
Mhm.
show. So could you walk us through the process of directing that for a first timer? Like what kind of training did they do? How long did it
Mhm.
usually take to kind of warm everybody up to how the process is?
Yeah, well, part of our process, well, at least my process is when you meet with the actors, you talk about story first. You talk about what they feel about the character, and then you exchange what you feel because there's research involved. You don't just hop on the floor and throw kicks and punches and say, "Okay, hey, maybe this will look cool." You come up with a game plan, and then that game plan gains trust. And when you gain a trust from the actor, then now they're willing to go through the hard work, the training, the stretching, the constant drills, the repetition over and over and over. And then that allows flexibility where game plans may change. but the actor's with you because they know this is for the best. Hey, you remember those 6 moves we were going to do right there? Cancel that. We're going to do this now, even though you trained for that for 3 weeks. Okay. But because you've been training, we've taught you how to adapt and move differently. So these changes won't frustrate you. So with each actor, that's usually the process I go through and the team goes through. So that way, we find the best solution for that character and what we're going to present in front of the camera.
Absolutely. And when you're crafting styles for each of the characters, because you want to make them a little bit unique in the way they fight between each other, what
Yeah.
do you take into account to kind of create a unique fighting style for a character like Yen versus a character like, Frankie?
Okay. Well, the great part about that is I got to give props to, once again, our writers. They usually put something like that on the page before a person is cast. Now, once a person is cast, if they have a martial art background, we usually cater to that. If the story doesn't say they have to stick with a certain style, if it's kind of open, then we could use what they've learned because it help us push them moving into fight choreography faster. Now, if I think someone doesn't have any martial art experience, or they basically say they don't, then we find the best solution of what I would call just action film fighting, where they just learn what to do in that fight scene and look like they've been doing it all their life. Treat it like lines. You know how you say your lines? Some people repeat lines over and over and over, and then they say it as if it's just so natural. I feel like if I don't have a lot of time, we put you in a mini boot camp where we teach you basics and then we focus on just the fight scene. Don't worry about anything else. That way, their confidence is within that parameter and they can execute well.
Absolutely. Well, you guys did an outstanding job with the choreography throughout the entire series. There's so many great moments that you guys break up, and I don't want to spoil it for any of the viewers,
I know
but
it's tough.
there's
It's tough.
some
I
really
know.
great scenes that involved enclosed spaces. So I think you guys
Yes,
did
yes,
some
yes.
really outstanding work there, and
Yeah, thank you,
congratulations
thank you.
on the
It was all
Continental.
it was all great teamwork between my U.S. team and the Budapest team. So yeah, we had great teamwork, and I'm happy you enjoyed it.
All right, thank you so much for your time, Larnell.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.